Yesterday, the index was down about 2.38%. What's happened on the bourse today?
Declines extended today. The market continued to react to the developments of last week, of course. The banking sector was the target of most of the attention, really. Whilst declines were broad-based, most of the pressure was on banks that are yet to be audited by the CBN. The non-financials, whilst they are declining, have maintained some level of support. Investors are not losing sight of the fundamentals there, focusing on a lot of the players in the fast-moving consumer goods sectors, as well as the building material sector, where there's still a lot of value. Even in financials, First Bank, for instance, towards the close of trading, witnessed a lot of buying pressure. Whilst they closed lower, it's clear that the declines might not persist for much longer.
Well, Oando has just come out with results, and their second quarter profit levels have dropped by about 16%. What would you say were some of the reasons behind that?
Of course, for the sector, there's been a lot of volatility, especially from last year. There are also a lot of factors that are out of the control of players within the sector, regardless of size. The dependence for a protracted period to the Petroleum Support Fund, a lot of complaints about payments have put a lot of pressure on the balance sheets of players within the sector. Most of them are exposed to a lot of debts, of course, which they use in financing their trading activities. And, in the face of a lot of volatility, a lot of them have had to accumulate a lot of interest charges, which is really telling on their profit and loss accounts. Oando, on the other hand, has run a pretty resilient business, and a lot of its activity in the mid to upstream sector should start to bear fruits in the near term and should support its earnings going forward.
Well, they're looking also for strategic alliances with major producers. Which producers would they be trying to align themselves to? Well,
a lot of bigger players within the upstream sector have shown an unwillingness, of course, to keep on their balance sheets, keep capital-intensive assets, and are looking for sort of smaller oil servicing companies, that own such assets to basically lease them or to rent them off such players. I think Oando will be looking at such players, strategic players within the local sector, looking at big oil players to basically offer such services to them going forward. It's been a strong point for them in the last couple of months. We've seen such alliances with some of the big wigs within the upstream oil sector, and we expect this to continue.
Yeah. Well, what would you say is the outlook for Oando, and what should they be doing to get their profit levels up?
Oando, of course, has expressed his interest in accessing the bond sector to raise money. A lot of its projects are not short-term, but most players within the industry are exposed to short-term financing options alone. If it's indeed able to raise such a facility, it will put much less pressure on its balance sheet. It will be in a much better position to finance medium to long-term projects. So I think the area of financing is critical for a firm like Oando. Whilst the opportunities are there, the financing options have not always been there. And if it's successful in raising the money off the bond market, it will be better able to match its sources of finance to the applications for such finance.